With Ginger's permission, I was invited to share a quick update on some developments at the IFAA World Headquarters. As you know, call ourselves. Gotta have goals, gotta have inspiration. Am I looking more Santa Fe since the last meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm gonna get rid of the, these will be swapped out for maybe,
Yeah, I was gonna say, those are way too simple.
hiking shoes, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually have a pair. Cowboy boots.
There you go.
I actually got this today. It was a gift, so I had to sport it. Feeling really, I was sending some pictures back to family in Milwaukee saying, look at me, I got my first clothes. And a couple of I'm the youngest of 5, and some sisters are writing back, said, the boots, we want to see the boots.
Yeah.
First, a little sobering news, since we are IFA family, and that of course concerns our artists in Nepal. And I just want to say thank you to Sachiko. Is Ernesto here? No? Okay, he's got a lot going on. And Joy, who handles our marketing communications pieces, the new website. If you haven't been, that's a lot of Joy's expertise. But these folks have really paid close attention to what's happening with our extended family and friends, the artists in Nepal. The last update we sent out, those couple weeks ago, we got word that everybody was okay. Ujwal's house was destroyed. We had one artist who was in a really bad way, but he was, in terms of life and limb, okay. And I believe his family was okay. But property was effectively destroyed. He does have enough of his artistic gifts to come to market both for Dallas and Santa Fe. So far, so good. But that's a very distressing situation because he's going in and out of the camps over there and hunting for water, for clean drinking water, and just pulling basic pieces together. And then we received, just recently, and again, thanks Sachiko, Yangma. Please fill in any details, because you're an expert on this. And the Yangma Rug Weavers, the traditional weavers co-op, lost a lot, and they were at sort of ground zero of Tuesday's events this week. So another devastating earthquake, and it actually got much closer to this particular group of weavers. So presently there are rugs being identified. I think they've lost some, but they have gathered enough of the rugs together to shift. Some of them are going to need to be cleaned up a little bit. And we're working with them on a case-by-case basis, and I think this was the language that many of you read in that email a couple of weeks ago, on a case-by-case basis, in this case with the weavers, to know how to respond as family. We're not a relief organization, and there are organizations that are set up to do that much better than we are. At the same time, like any family, when you know there's need, you respond. So we're also wanting to do that smartly. And that means within the family, for those that so choose and say, yeah, I do want to step out, I want to work with IFAA, I want to be responsive specifically to our artists' needs, we'll work with you on that. From our side, and this is stuff that we don't put out for the world to know, but from our side, it's really all about managing expectations and making sure we're on your page, if you so choose, to act on what relief means for both of us. It may be shipping costs, for example. It may be waiving some fees, etc. And these are all things that are actually very real. We just don't put it out there, again, because we don't want to make it seem like we're posturing as a relief organization. But we will be vigilant. We will keep you apprised of situations like Yangma and Ujwal, and be very responsive as family can do best. So I'll invite any questions if you want to talk that through. Yes, sir? Or no, it was a chin scratch. Okay, pardon me. You know, at an auction, they'll get you a big show. Are there any questions on? Okay. We're kind of trying to thread the needle, and I appreciate your understanding of where we're at as an organization. We just don't want to present to the world that, oh wow, they fundraise now for relief efforts. We don't do that. We don't do that well.
Will they be able to travel to where they need to travel to get their visas and stuff like that?
So far, so good, but that's exactly the kind of stuff we're looking at. Do you have any insights, Sasha?
The artist for Yangma was denied a visa first attempt, and because of it being so busy trying to get students and their families out of there, they're gonna wait and let it settle down a little bit and see what she's gonna try again.
You know, Senator Heinrich's office will help. Sashko,
Okay.
let me know.
Anything else? Okay. Let me-
You all helped us with our noms. Very nice.
Thank you for that. That's why you're expert. I'd forgotten about the first attempt on visas. Yeah, and the other thing too is, true to family, we've been very sensitive to not push out details and names, because you can imagine if these were your private lives and suddenly somebody's, you just think, seriously, I wasn't prepared for that. Because media, as you know, loves to sort of play up fight, and I find that personally somewhat exploitive. And without a person's prior approval, we just don't feel at liberty to share that stuff with the world. But within family, this is where we are. And lastly on that, thank you for keeping them in your thoughts and prayers and meditations. You know, there's financial support and there's other ways of expressing support too. I can't wait to get them here, because I think it's gonna be great. Lots of odds. Anyway, turning a page, finance. We are close. So Rich Moore has done an amazing job and brought us to a new level. And we're deeply indebted to him and wish him nothing but continued success in Chicago.
They might not all know that he's leaving.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Rich Moore is leaving. Okay, let me walk that back just a little bit. So, about a month ago, Rich shared that it was time to go back to Chicago. And he has a wonderful opportunity with a private business to really help them wind down as they position for a sale. And they identified Rich from his prior journey through Chicago, and he got a phone call. It was an amazing offer, and he said, I gotta do this. Now, personally, why he would want to go back to the upper Midwest? And as a Milwaukeean, I'm thinking, Chicago, really? You want to go to Chicago? But he has made amazing contributions, and we are indebted. And there have been a number of people stopping by, board members and others, to thank him. As recently as this morning, our board chair was there to say thank you. So please join me. If you know Rich personally, feel free to reach out. And Friday is his last day. So knowing this, those weeks ago, we set in motion quickly a search. And we went with family. We started with network. We did not engage a search firm. We said, you know, we don't need hundreds, we just need the right one. So we started some interviews, and we're very close. I'm not quite at liberty, although the last phone call I had with Ray came over here. We're really close. And the goal there was to avoid any gaps. So as I come to appreciate the ramping up of the market, the wheels are really spinning over at the offices and in your lives as well. We will do everything we can on our side to avoid any gaps. And we have a punch list that we've been working off. It's about a 30-item list to make sure that everything from payout to the list that you know better that I'm going to learn in mid-July, which is about 100 items long. But between Connie, whom I thank, and she's done an amazing job and has gone through market to make sure that the handoff with the internal team and our very likely incoming candidate is as seamless as possible. So Connie, thank you. Since you're here. It was such a gift to the board's great wisdom. They said, Jeff, you go out and meet everybody possible in Santa Fe. And Connie has expert control of what I've described as keeping the trains running in perfect time and without a skipped beat. So I really appreciate that, because I actually learned more to stay out of the way. And not interfere with the amazing team at work. What that has meant for me in terms of the board's expectations to start building those relationships, I arrived March 30th. Last night was the third night since March 30th that I was actually somewhat at home. That's a lot of time out. And if you know Charmaine, my personal social liaison, she has been amazing and has hosted me and introduced me to just an amazing number of people. By the third week, I had folks saying, "Oh, you want to talk to so-and-so and so-and-so and so," and I would say, "No, dinner." So, well, how do you do that? I said, "Well, that's called Charmaine." So she's been absolutely stellar. I'll pause to hear any questions about finance, see if I can fill in any gaps for you, or anything else on your minds, not anything. So let's turn it back over to the real expert. Just thank you so much for all that you're doing. It's a pleasure to learn from you. I appreciate so much the energy here and the passion. Turn it back over to one of my many bosses. Good to go?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
It's Jeff's birthday. Like to embarrass him, and also happy birthday to Jeff. Happy birthday to you.
Many more. My son, my 11-year-old, FaceTimed me this morning, and Jonathan, our son from Thailand. And so I had the phone up, and I said, "John, do I look any older?" And he went, "Yeah." Too honest.
We have cupcakes to celebrate the birthday, and so Heather, I don't know if you want to help pass them out, or there are 6 chocolate ones, so if you want those, we'll pass them. The rest of them are plain. So I'm going to save myself for towards the end and give the floor to a couple of people who are more important than me this meeting. First, Douglas, our finance assistant, he's not here, but he will be here at the end of the meeting to sell Friday night tickets. So one of the benefits of being a board volunteer chair is that you yourself get a free Friday night ticket, and then you can purchase an additional discounted ticket for $75 as opposed to the $225 price for the rest of the world. And so he will be here at the end of the meeting to take your money if you would like a ticket. We are 89% sold out for Friday night already, so if you know people that want to go to Friday night, I would recommend to them that they buy tickets today. And there's only 2 ways to buy a ticket, either online through our website, or there's also a phone number on our website to call. So
I
that
have
you can
a
get
question.
tickets.
If it gets sold out, can you still donate the $1,000?
Yes, Heather will.
Is that always an option?
That is an option up until Friday night, so,
Okay.
yes.
I just wanted to say hello. I know a lot of you, I've worked with a lot of you, but there's a lot of new faces too, so I thought I would start by saying where I came from in terms of how I landed here. So I did a couple of summers as an event contract assistant with my predecessor and former supervisor Kelly Waller, and then in December of 2012 I came on full-time, and I've done each of those consecutive markets, so to speak, since then on my own, but with lots of help. I have worked in the nonprofit arts world for at least 15 years. I have literally done just about everything from grant writing to membership programs to logistical coordination to marketing and communication. So that's about me. This is my chosen career path, believe it or not. It doesn't pay well, but it's very rewarding, and I truly believe in the transformational power of art. I'm an artist myself, so thank you for letting me tell you that. And what do I do at the market as Richard Drago? I sort of coordinate the non-movie, meaning non-transportation part, although I certainly interact a lot with these folks and coordinate some of those pieces too. I have a hand in almost everything that you see on site in terms of building that miniature city that happens actually starting June 19th, 20th, all the way until the week after market. I work with over 40 vendors, contractors, and partners to make this happen. And so, believe it or not, it is year-round. we have so much work to do just to do this one event. I oversee and work with several teams on our site. So we have a market crew that you'll see. They often are on the golf carts. They have two-page run sheet, hour by hour of tasks that need to be done. I oversee like the people that put the hard walls up, so all those bright yellow walls that you see, these are all different labor crews. So temporary fencing, trash removal, all that really fun stuff. So I thought I'd give a really quick, just some information and try to make it fun about some of our, you know, the big things. These are big costs. The map looks horrible on this presentation, so I brought some. And I don't think I have enough for each of you, but some of you may or may not want this, but this is our site map for this year, and I thought I'd just go over some really basic stuff, because I feel like maybe like when we've added a secondary exit, not everybody knew that unless they really were carefully looking at our maps that are in New Mexico, et cetera. So really quickly, again, I would point here, but I don't think you can see anything on that. We still have a secondary exit. We implemented that 2 years ago, I believe. And what that means is people can still go out the front and exit right to get to either a parking lot or the bus mall. But we're also encouraging people to exit from Miller Plaza because it's actually a better walkway. And with events, it's really nice if you have like one entry point and one exit point, because then we don't have as much congestion. Not everybody uses that exit, and we're certainly not forcing people to do it. If they come to the front, we're not saying you have to walk all the way back up there to do that. But I wanted to point that out because that was a big change a few years for us.
You want to point to that?
Yeah, point to that.
It's that black bar there, yeah. So
Between the cafe and the Indian Arts and Cultures
Yes.
Museum.
Cafe and Maya, and then
Yeah.
it goes back that access right towards the bus.
And if you have a map, you'll see it here. It's a black bar that says exit. Right here.
It's well marked.
Yeah, it's not an ideal path in the sense that part of it's dirt, there's a lot going on back here, but our site has a lot of challenges, as many of you know, having done this a long time. Another important one to point out for everyone is where we have our EMT tent on site. I think a lot of you know this, but it's minuscule here, but it's right here, and it's behind the visitor center. So when you go up the stairs, like you're gonna go to Miller Plaza, you take a right, it's behind that little Adobe building. Exciting development for logistics people this year. We're working with the city special events medic team. I really think this is gonna improve our overall coordination with transport if we need to take someone off-site, for instance, et cetera, because they're tied in directly with police, they're tied in directly with ambulances, et cetera. So I think that'll be a really, really good improvement. Another just fun one I wanted to point out, I think everybody knew that the ambiance sales had moved to where in the old days UNESCO had been. Are you gonna be able to see this at all?
By the giant brick
Right
statue.
here. This is ambiance sales, and then I wanted to just point out too, we're gonna have a commemorative collection here, so that's where you will find the really cool and new t-shirts that say 2015 Folkart Market, really beautiful water bottles and some other things. I won't go over all of them, so it'll be a surprise. What's that? Oh, I thought I heard my name. Anything else? Oh, another thing you'll see on the map, it's kind of hard to see on these printouts, but we're trying a new thing this year in terms of directional and numbering for the artist booths. This will mostly be apparent on the map that the New Mexican does that coordinates with the key with the artist, but we're not changing the numbering system, but we're adding areas so that if you're in this row, for instance, that's booths right now, booths 1 through 24, it will say A1, A2, A3, etc. We're hoping that that will be a little easier for people than saying, go to booth 2. Well, if you don't know the site, you have to literally look at every single number. And I think we're hoping that this really helps the block captains, artist assistants, and also just any volunteer that needs to go to a specific area. So the only changes will be the end of the row booth signs, and I'll connect with you guys on that, and then the map that goes out to the public. But that was a new addition too. Any questions on this site yet? So here's where I want to see how many of you can guess some of our super duper exciting statistics about the market. How many tables do you think we rent each year? Anyone? How many what? Tables do you think we rent to bring on site?
Shout it out, guys.
2,600, what?
3,500.
3,500, 5,000.
Oh my goodness.
We rent about 755. And because you were closest, I'm gonna give you.
Wear this beautiful water bottle. Wow.
Sorry. So, how many chairs do you think we bring to the site?
Chairs?
2,500. I don't know if staff are allowed 2,500.
That's too much.
I say 1,400.
1,400? We last year brought about 1,070 chairs to the site. So was that the closest? Check it in. All right.
I feel like we got
You get some bandas
You guys do have advantage, but we don't want to talk.
How big do you think our site is? And I'm not including parking lots, I'm just including sort of Milner Plaza and parking lot in the front. So not.
What about the food court?
Yes.
How many what now?
How big do you think the site is?
Like
How big?
square.
You could do acres, square
Acres
footage.
or square feet?
I'm so not good at this.
7,500 square feet.
40,000 square feet.
Wait, staff, I don't.
2 acres.
Wait,
2 acres.
He says 2 acres. It's about 24,495 square feet or 6 acres.
I said 7.
7? All right. You get the, Tamaritos.
Yeah, true.
So, how much do you think it costs the organization to rent everything? So this includes tents, canvas, lights,
Portlets.
doesn't include portlets. It's just tents and rentals that are like the tables, chairs, tent walls, lights. Yes.
60 grand.
No other guesses?
250,000.
No.
It's 240.
125.
95,000.
Boom, 95,000. That's assuming we don't add or change anything drastically, right? So this is like a typical year. Why am I talking about all of this? Well, part of it is just because I was trying to, share some of this information that I think about. Where's this prize? Oh my God! I'm making people angry. Sorry. I'm so glad you said that because I can't take all this candy back with me. So the reason I'm asking about this and trying to get us thinking about this is because I'll be emailing some of you, not all of you, because not everybody has rentals that I need to ask you about. And what I do is I'll just look at what we did last year for your particular area that you oversee, so to speak. And then I'll say, does this look right? Is anything wrong? Are these table sizes not working for you? And then if we can get this all, any of that information back to me by May 22nd, that'd be awesome. But don't worry, I will reach out to you and remind you and have information.
That's in 9 days.
That's plenty of time. So another thing I wanted to do, ever since I've worked here, even as a contract, like event assistant, we get asked the same, there's a few questions we get asked over and over, same, every year. I know some of you will know these already, it's just so that if you're talking to your volunteer teams, if these things come up, it's mostly stuff related to our site. I just wanted everybody to have a better awareness of this, and of course you can always ask me questions later as well, but I've done a multiple choice. Again, I have prizes possibly, if I have enough. But here we go. So these are my frequently asked questions.
You can tell that Ginger put pressure on guest speakers to be entertaining.
All right, so here's my number one. We actually tell you, please do not roll the tent walls down. I don't know if everybody even knows that. So why don't you roll the tent walls down when it's raining? That's one of my number one questions.
Because you don't have anybody to put them back up.
Well, let me see. Oop, Did that come on? I can't see.
No.
Oh, no, there we go. A, because I'm paid to say you can't. Oops. B, sorry, if all tent walls go down in the market, it affects the space-time continuum. That's it. C, we do not have enough staff. It takes 10 to 12 people, several hours each, using stilts ideally. We actually have certified stilt walkers on our tent crew to put these walls back up. I hope it's obvious what the answer is. All right, so Sue, I think you might get
I know,
another
I'm gonna get all the candy.
Should I give that to you now, or do you wanna wait?
You can pick an honorary person to donate.
That's right.
Okay, so the next one, I get asked this a lot, and for Mara, are you here? Mara
Yeah.
Harris? At one point, we talked more about this than anything else during the market. Let's see. So, oh, hold on.
Go to the right.
Can you clean her pump? Oh, and I have a typo again. Maybe someone did ask that way, right?
Exactly that
They seem picky, right? Right. So, you think it's answer A, only if you bring the gifts? B, no, because we like to mimic television's fear factor for our visitors. C, we regularly clean, restock, and pump these, but remember there are 10,000 people a day using less than 25 portable restrooms.
There's only 25.
So the next question is, what would you have to restrooms?
I could do that. I would have to take something at the market away.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So it would either be artists, ambiance, food, yeah, so. But it is a real need, and it's something we should think about long-term, in terms of planning and, health and safety. Now, I didn't include the museum restrooms in this. They are on-site as well, they get used a lot. We try not to encourage people to use those. The plumbing there is very bad, and I don't even know if everyone's aware, like the one year something got flushed during our event, it totally ruined the entire conservation lab. And they spent lots and lots of money redoing that, so. And that could have happened in any event, but it happened at ours. It's terrible. So, next question. Why can't I get one of those small artist assistant tables? The person over there has one. And for those of you that are new, we do these skinny tables for artist assistants. They're not everywhere, and you'll find out why. So, A, because the small tables are only given to those who have volunteered 13 years ago. This is our 12th market. B, because it's my job to tell everyone no. Or C, space won't permit. These are carefully plotted out in advance, noting fire and safety issues and traffic.
So people should fight over them?
Arm wrestling
No.
contest.
Yeah,
They
no.
should share.
No, if you don't have one, you don't have one.
Oh.
Yeah. And in the early days of the market, before we were, I think, even bigger, all the artist assistants were in the booth with the artists. So this was actually something added to help kind of mitigate that crowding and craziness, and also with packages. It's not a perfect system though. Our site just doesn't allow us to do a lot of these things the way we'd really like to. Let's play. So I think I only have a couple more of these. So another thing I wanted to touch on is every year I will get a million calls about my table's missing, my umbrella has been moved, I don't know where the tablecloth went that was just here a couple minutes ago. I know people panic and want to move things or think that maybe they didn't get the right thing delivered. I'm only showing you my one page from a 10-page rental document that I have to give the rental company, because I want you to see that it's all plotted out very carefully and very thoughtfully, based on the artist orders that they give at Sachiko, that informs what they get in their booths, based on talking to my colleagues, based on talking to all of you. So the point of that is just to say, please don't if there's a stack of tables somewhere, it's been put there intentionally. And intentionally renting out tables for artists who maybe didn't do the right order or got to the market and figured out they need something different. I can almost guarantee you if something's sitting somewhere, we put it there intentionally, unless it got moved, of course, by, by someone else. And this, again, this happens every year. Umbrellas disappear, we put them out somewhere, and then someone moves my umbrella. I don't have more of these things, you know, once the rental's on site, that's it. I can't call Phoenix and get more umbrellas quickly, so just please emphasize that with your teams. All right, so rental madness.
Stacy, can I add one thing?
Yeah.
Don't steal other people's stuff.
Yes, don't do that.
The
Yeah.
first year I was a chair, another chair stole my umbrella. I went over and.
What did
got
you
it
do
back.
to her?
I got it back.
My guess is that person is no longer.
Yeah. And inevitably it will happen, human nature, right? But the more we can help make that not happen, the easier it is on all of us. So another question, why can't you put better roofing up to prevent rain leaking, especially on those seams during these downpours? Because rain is a blessing, it's good for you. B, you might guess this one, because it's my job to tell everybody it can't happen. I hope you're not thinking that one's true. C, because if there's only so much we can do, and believe it or not, we've tried a lot of things. We've been on that same site for, this will be our 12th year. We really, again, I would love to be able to solve this. We've tried putting canvas things down the seams. It was really costly, and it did not work effectively. There is no great solution unless we totally, redid the site or brought in more permanent structures. There's just so much you can do with canvas tenting.
I have a question. Do you tell the artisans ahead of time that's a possibility? Because I've been there trying to help artisans who are freaking out.
Yeah, well, I'm not quite sure if it's in the materials that Sachiko sends out. We also try our best to help. We'll put plastic sheeting at the ends of the rows that we go and buy and cut and then say, we're giving this to you specifically in case it rains. Again, not a perfect system.
That's what.
People panic. That's why the tent walls start going down. People don't understand. Usually we can just wait it out. And I know that's like last year I was drenched, I was cold. And we really do want to protect the art, but we're also outside in New Mexico in July.
No, I just wondered if they knew about plastic, to bring plastic tubs. I was at the bottom last year,
Yeah.
and I was half deep, and people
Yeah.
were really upset their water, their paper was getting wet.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, and if, the other thing, if you guys have like suggestions or solutions, I love to hear about it, because sometimes we think we've thought of everything and we haven't, so if you have any ideas, I mean, we do give the plastic tubs or what we provide, the tablecloths, et cetera, come in, and those certainly get used throughout the weekend. But again, depending on the artwork and how big it is, and we don't have containers, that we can just bring to site and cover up, so for now, the plastic sheeting is what we have, but.
Oh, and
yeah.
maybe if the artisans knew ahead of time to bring plastic tubs.
Well, I think a lot of them can't, or they, right.
We used to, I don't think you do it anymore, but we used to put the pallets on it, the half pallets on it.
Oh, yeah, that would
Yeah,
be
we
crazy.
could do that again. I have to find the pallets, so if anybody has a source for those, we're happy to cut them up. The crew just has to go and do that and just cut them down.
Yeah, that used to be a warehouse.
Okay. All right, almost done. So the next one I get asked a lot, and I know I'll get asked again this year. We need more coverage from the sun. Why can't we get umbrellas and or awnings on all the tent edges? Well, because it's my job to hold everyone down. Not true. B, because vitamin D is good for you. No, that's not right. C, same issues, space. It's hard to rent it's costly, and we don't have a lot of umbrellas to rent from our inventory, and space issues. I've also looked into awnings. If we put awnings up, we impact traffic near the booths. So because of the way that you have to stake things, so you think it's crowded already, it would be even worse if I put awnings because there would be less space in the aisles.
Bring an umbrella.
So, okay, so there's so much to do for this event. How does it all get done? Letter A, mostly due to caffeine, sugar, and a good sense of humor. Yes. B, small miracles happen every year. C, because of amazing, devoted teams and people like you. I added a D, sorry.
All of the above.
All of the above, but mostly C. So that's it. I just want to say thanks to everybody here. We honestly can't do it without you. We've heard a little bit about logistical craziness, and I'm here. If anybody has questions today, you know, I won't do that now, but just come find me. And of course, you're always welcome to call or email. But I want to introduce the next sort of logistical piece of people who get the 20,000 some visitors up to the hill, and the volunteers, Jimmy Campbell, Sam Sylvain, and Roberto Aponte, and Jimmy owns Sparrowhawk. Sam is our new venue transportation manager. She lives in Austin, but she's here this week, and we're doing tons of transport stuff. And then Roberto will be our traffic manager, and he lives here locally as well. There you go.
Thank you.
Can you give me more candy?
We don't have candy, I'll start off with that. Okay, I'm sorry. But yeah, this is our third year doing the market. This is one of my favorite events that we do every year. It is just a spectacular event, and we donate a lot of our services to the market because we truly believe in the mission. And like you guys, you know, we're willing to put our money where our mouth is and actually put our time and energy behind this to help you know, making this a success every year. We started at the same time that Stacy started on the market, and each year we try to improve our operation. Year one, our main goal was really to get some documentation about what we do. We had a bunch of people that were working on the market, and they just knew what they did, and it was never written down anywhere. So year one was really about documentation and creating a little bit more safety on the site. And we did some things like creating a pedestrian pathway that was segregated from the roads and things like that. And then year two, we were really focusing on the bus system. And as you probably imagine, trying to get 10,000 people a day up on the hill with 15 or 16 buses is quite challenging. So we spent a lot of time redesigning the bus model and how we did that. And then this year we have a couple of objectives as well. And so far we've been relatively good about meeting our objectives. I wanted to go through a couple updates from last year. This year we get Atalaya School back. And you can tell that I'm a transport geek because I love parking lots. And Atalaya has a really nice parking lot. It's ready for us, and we can get a bunch of cars in there, and there's a nice little pickup drop-off zone and all that kind of stuff. So we'll be using Atalaya again. We also rebranded some of our parking for the spectators, so for the attendees at Para and South Capitol. You may not know this, but we had a lot of confusion from folks about where they parked. When they get up to the hill, they think, oh, South Capitol, well, I parked right next to the Capitol. Right. And so we're trying to help folks out. So we're calling the Para lot is now the Moon Para lot, and the South Capitol lot is now the Sun South Capitol lot. And we'll be putting signage up and branding the buses as well, so people will hopefully remember Moon or Sun, and we'll get them back where they want to go. And then one of the really great things for us this year, which will help us hopefully reach our goal of creating a better volunteer shuttle service, is that we have data now about travel demand. So we have an integrated shifting system with Ginger's great help and I'm sure cracking a bit of a whip with you guys. We now know what times people's shift starts. And we understand that there's obviously a lot of, this beautiful sheet of many colors. And there's a lot of variability on this, I'm sure. Some people are going to come up a little early and maybe shop a little bit or stay a little late and shop, but at least we have an idea. And so we can scale our system appropriately, hopefully, to meet your guys' demand. Parking. Parking on the hill is very, very difficult to come by. There's not a lot of space. We have a bunch of different client groups that require parking based on either the contractual commitments or their status as a donor or whatever it might be. So there's really not a lot of spare parking. We would love it if all of your teams could park on the hill and we wouldn't have to shuttle them, or it'd be wonderful for them, they could walk to work. But we just can't do that, and that's why we have to set up the shuttling system. We actually track the data. So we have a person assigned to each parking lot that hourly does a lot count. And so now we have 2 full years of data that show us how the lots are being utilized. And an interesting little tidbit, we over allocate parking to all of our parking lots. So if we have a parking lot with 100 spaces in it, we may give out 150 permits. And we can do that now because we can tell how they actually get utilized. So we're getting a little bit better. We're actually sort of creating our own additional parking by managing it a little bit better. And then we know that Friday night is a big issue for us. Friday in general is a big issue for us because it's very complicated. We don't get the Montoya building on time, so people have to go to Adelia or Rio Grande, and there's a lot of confusion about that. And then the beauty, or for me a beauty, because I love math, is how do we get everybody up the hill in an hour when everybody has gotten up the hill throughout the course of the day? So we have about 500 people that want to leave the hill at about 9 o'clock. And we have 10 vans that carry 11 passengers each. So once you do the math, we did it the other night, Sam and I were working on this a little bit, it would take us about 2.5 hours to get everybody up the hill. So we're going to be coming up with some really creative and hopefully effective solutions, and we're going to rely on you guys to help us implement those so that we can mitigate that issue on Friday night. It purely is a math question. We have too many people, not too many, we have more people than vehicles, okay? But again, we're going to be paying a lot of attention to that this year. That's our main goal this year, is to improve Friday night operations. We know it's dark on the steps. We know that it's not optimal, but again, from a cost and constraint standpoint, it's very difficult for us to do much more than we're currently doing.
And a space.
Exactly. So back of house, we have space to load maybe 2 vans at any given time. So that also affects the time it takes to get everybody up the hill. I took some of the text, and you can't read this, and I don't expect you to, but this is actually the content from the website about how volunteers, how you get to the market. And this works for probably 90–95% of your teams. We know that there are groups that fall outside of these parameters. And our goal is to work with you again this year to try to find the best solution for your specific team. And that might be, we run a shuttle a little later, or we run a shuttle a little earlier, or maybe we can shift a shift time by 15 minutes or something like that. But we want to engage you guys and come up with a solution that makes sure that you can do your jobs, but that we're not having to spend some crazy amount of money to try to buy 7 more vans or something like that. We understand that this isn't 100% solution, but it is probably about a 90–95% solution based on our sheet of many colors that is making its way around the table right now. So that's for the pre-market, and then obviously on market weekend, our big issue is Friday. We reviewed some of the survey data from last year, and our marks for Saturday and Sunday were super. I mean, 97% satisfied or highly satisfied, right? So we like those kinds of numbers. But our Friday number was more like 87%. So that's our goal this year, is to get that Friday number up. And the main thing really is about our access to these parking lots. If we could convince the state to shut at 1 o'clock on Friday and we get the Montoya building, I'm sure we'd be in great shape. And I'm sure that the state would actually, the employees would probably really like that idea. So maybe we'll pitch that. I didn't even thought about that. But the real issue is, how do we get to folks that have a critical need that is outside our hour of operation? What is our solution to that? It may be that we work out some kind of, like I said, alternate timing. We will be looking at everything, quite obviously, as an option. Whether that's parking, whether that's getting on the attendee shuttle service and running some kind of connecting shuttle to the back of house. We don't know yet, but we're going to work on it. I wanted to give an overview of what the site looks like so that everybody, because we turn this street one way, right? So here's our wonderful IFAM market site, and Camino Lejo. We decided to turn this one way for a couple of reasons. One, we wanted to get a pedestrian walkway that was safe, and we can't do that if there's two-way traffic. There's just physically not enough space. And so we decided to go with the one-way traffic. Now, you see some red dots on the top, the red arrows on the top. They're not going one way, are they, right? So all cars, emergency vehicles, our shuttle services have to enter through Camino Corrales. And then they go on up and they have to park to go to their drop zone. Our buses from Santa Fe Trails, from our 2 park and ride locations, actually come up on the Santa Fe Trail. And we take those vehicles and bring them into the Mosca Bus Mall by counterflowing the roadway. So we stop all the traffic right up here with people, our own staff. We stop pedestrian traffic and car traffic. We shoot the buses down into the bus mall. Actually, we guide them very carefully. And then they drop off their passengers. And then on egress, when they leave, they can just blend right into the northbound traffic on Camino Lejo. It's very important that we all know this so that all of our teams recognize that it's a one-way street. We still get folks that park in the Udall lot and make a right-hand turn. And all of a sudden, they realize they made it a tragic error. But you know, as much as we can message this kind of information to our groups, I think it will help us all tremendously. On egress, it's just you flip it, everybody, again, making a right-hand turn or a northbound turn onto Lejo, and our buses are mixing in with the traffic. I didn't touch on it, but all these little areas are all the parking areas that we manage. So each one of these sites, the Mayak, Moifa, Overflow, et cetera, has a staff member who sits there and makes sure that you have the right permit to park where you're supposed to park. And so far, it's been working pretty darn good. This next one shows where we drop passengers off and pick them up. So, one of the ones that we instituted last year that I think worked relatively well, and I think people were happy about, was our taxi and private vehicle loads on the top there. So, technically, Old Santa Fe Trail is closed to the public from Corrales to Monte Sol. But what I like to call it is it's sort of like a semi-closed or a soft closure. We have a staff member down at Corrales with a police officer, and if somebody says that they're going to drop somebody off, we let them through. Obviously, our buses go through, so it's not really a closure so much as a soft closure. But this is a really convenient spot for folks to drop people off, pick them up after the market. Taxis can use it, or hired vehicles can use it. And we have a couple staff members up there making sure people aren't parking too long and making sure it's relatively convenient and safe for everybody. We operate hotel shuttles from, I think it was 6 or 7 partner hotels last year. They drop off in the Udall building, the yellow dot up there, and then they walk down to the site. Now, not all the hotel shuttles really like doing that. They want to drop them right in front of the market at the entrance, which everybody wants to drop at the entrance to the market. But we're really encouraging them to head up there. This is an incredibly busy, challenging area. Our attendee shuttles, these are the buses from Santa Fe Trails, and that is in the Mosca Bus Mall. We have a whole queuing process where we count passengers off in order to keep, again, my main goal is safety. I've been doing events for 35 years, and every one I go into, I hope not to lose anyone, okay? And I'm not always successful. At Olympic operations, someone almost always passes away due to some kind of transport issue. So we spend a lot of time thinking about safety. And so our goal in the Mosca Bus Mall is to keep people and buses from touching each other anyway. Your feet is about the only thing we want touching the bus. Step on. So we've got a queuing process and a whole bunch of staff that help manage that process of people getting on and off buses safely. Then in our favorite spot, the overflow lot, we have, this is the overflow lot here. We have our accessible shuttle services from both of the sun and moon. See, I'm transitioning right in front of your eyes, transitioning. From the sun and moon lots, we have accessible buses that will take anybody who has an accessibility challenge up to the site and drop them right across the street from the entrance. It's the highest level of service we can possibly offer for anybody with a disability. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't know it exists. And they wind up riding the attendee shuttle over here, and then they get off and they don't know what to do because they can't walk all the way to the market. So we run golf cart shuttles back and forth from market entrance. During the pre-market times, Our shuttles are currently planned to be dropping in the overflow lot. Those are the shuttles from Adelia and Rio Grande School. Our artist shuttle drops right at the front, as it should. Priority client, take care of your priority clients. We have a bike valet just south of the artist shuttle area, and then our wonderful workforce shuttle that's owned by the house. Yeah, all good. Now, the fun part. We have some prizes as well. We're very cognizant of everybody's health, so we didn't want to hand out candy. So we have these marvelous tote bags from Sparrowhawk that are really convenient, keep in your car, and you don't have to worry about shopping bags and whatnot. So we have a few of those for the winners of these very, very challenging questions. Transport by the numbers. Volunteer trips. A volunteer trip is a trip from their place of origin, so it could be the Montoya building at the Sun Park and Ride, or it could be at the Rio Grande School. One trip is from there to the IFAM, and then another trip is from IFAM back. How many volunteer trips do you think we do in a year? Numbers. 5,000?
8,000.
8. Anybody else want to get in on this? There's a tote bag waiting for somebody. All right, here we go.
I would say 1,500.
5,000. 100. There you are. Winner, chicken dinner. Now we're talking. All right.
So what's the real number?
5,141. Now, that's a pretty decent number, I would think, right? You know, we're pretty happy with that. Well, how about attendee trips? Remember, it's one trip up, one trip back. 20,000. Do I hear others? 60,000.
45,000.
45.
37,500.
That's a good guess.
It's 10,000 people.
23,000 trips.
Yeah.
Right now. There you are. Did I tell everybody these have a nice little carabiner inside? You can put it on.
Many of the winners are sitting close to the classroom front.
Now, there's almost 30,000 people on that list, right? How many vehicles do you think it takes to move 30,000 people in a weekend?
Sounds like we only have 10.
75.
75? 22.
27.
25, 27, 35.
60.
All right. 33.
It's
That
magic.
works out to about 850 people getting moved in every vehicle. Well done, Val.
It is magic. It is a small miracle.
That is one of the highest, they call it an average vehicle, they call it total vehicle occupancy. That was one of the highest TDOs that we've had in any event I've worked. So we are incredibly efficient with the gear that we have, with the buses that we have in advance. They are always moving and they are always full. My pet peeve in life is empty seats. I hate empty seats. And so I hope that everybody, since we all have parking permits here, or most of us have parking permits here, I hope everybody recognizes that and bring 3 people up with you every single day. Find somebody to give the ride home at the end of the day. Every seat is important. Now, how many staff do you think is required to manage the buses, the vans, the parking, the traffic?
This is including drivers and.
Not just great question.
Just the brain trust?
It includes our van drivers, but not the bus drivers. Great
There's
question.
only 10 vans, we know that.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so we're gonna say less than 20.
Less than 20 we have over here. Anybody else?
Like 15 or a dozen.
18,
65.
65,
22.
22, 42,
More, it's probably 10.
53, 59.
More people
You want to donate your back to someone else? There you go. Again, we do a lot of work on ratios of staff to to number of clients, ratio of staff to vehicles. These are incredibly low numbers. We are really, really efficient with these, with what we have, the resources we have. In the Olympic world, we'll run a 2,000 bus operation. It'll be about 1,500 people that run the bus operation. So it's more than one person, sorry, it's just less than one person per bus. So we're rocking and rolling here. How many parking spaces do we manage on Museum Hill? This includes the Immaculate Heart of Mary, IHM. 420? Not enough is exactly the right answer. You get to donate that to someone. Outstanding answer. Thank you. We're going to go here. 447. So good guesses over there. Sorry, you got trumped by the great answer. That's not a ton of parking, right? Right. On a normal day, there's about 600 spaces up there. We eat up a bunch with the tents and whatnot. And you might have an occupancy of about 1,000, 1,500 people on the hill. We get 10,000 people over the course of the day, basically. And we're doing it with less parking than they normally have. So we're definitely constrained up there. Then, our last question, how many spaces do we manage that are not on Museum Hill?
Does that include the sun and moon?
It includes the sun and moon, and I love that you use sun and moon. You can still guess for fun, okay? Anybody?
1,050.
1,050, good guess. Sorry?
1,500.
1,500? Just shy of 2,000 spaces. Now those are the spots we manage. I think we actually use a lot more parking than that because I think a lot of people park someplace close to South Capitol and walk over. We're actually, one of our goals this year is to do a lot more data collection in those two facilities. So we've never done lot counts there yet, but we will be doing it this year. So we can say, all right, well it's full by 10 a.m. every day, and then they must be parking somewhere else because we're still sending people up and down the hill, right?
Go check on Montezuma Street because we have about 40 people that use our parking lot at our office building.
Totally, and I think that, I think that our real number, if you assume a certain number of people in each car, this math doesn't make sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So theoretically, this would mean that we would move somewhere in the event standard is 2.7 people in a car per event, okay? So we'd be looking at somewhere in the, just shy of 6,000 people every day that we could move up, but we're moving more than that. So they're obviously doing what we call park and hide. Instead of park and ride, you just find a parking space relatively close by and jump on the service. So this is our presentation today. I know it's not a lot of detail about the individual services that will be provided for each one of you. I really want Sam to be the one that works with you guys with Ginger to solve any of your problems that you might have. And we'll be reaching out to you. If you have any questions for us, please don't hesitate to contact us. But I'm sure that Ginger would like to be kept in that loop. It would be my guess.
Yeah, and if I could add to that, I just want to say hello and thank you guys for letting me be part of the team. I've worked at a few events so far in my 40 years, but this is exciting. And I've been hanging around the office a little bit more lately. I live in Austin, but that doesn't mean I'm not accessible to everybody. And it's been truly inspiring. I'm really starting to understand all that you guys have put into this. It's crazy. Like, I've worked at big events, I've worked at Super Bowl. I've never seen volunteers take on so much. And so it's really impressive. And by saying that, I want you to know my job is here to make sure that your teams are getting to work. So I think what's really important, a tool, obviously, Ginger is your biggest tool, but that website, I think will help out a lot, directing people to there. And there is a parking email on there. And that, I check that, I'm gonna start checking that every day, I'll check it once a week. That's really big if someone has some mobility issues, you know, they can check out that website. It connects us directly with me, with them. So I think that's gonna be a big tool, is directing your teams there for most of their needs. And then anything else that you're seeing that's not making sense on that website is then maybe talk to Ginger first, and then we'll work really closely to figure out what's best for you guys. But I just want to say, you know, thanks again. Roberto's here locally, so, you know, we're totally aware that we just want to make your lives
Thank you very much.
Thank you everybody for sneaking in there. I know this is a longer meeting than usual and a lot more presentations, but there's really important information that needs to get out to you from all of our really hardworking people. I'm gonna let the Vanderbilts cut me in my order of operations just because I wanna dominate the end of the meeting myself. When you're really tired and fading, so go ahead, Lori.
Okay, I'm Lori Vanderbilt, half of the market science team, and it is that time where I need to know what your signage needs are for this year, and, hopefully there's no changes. But, you know, frequently there are. I just learned about a few today that I had no clue about. Anyhow, within the next week or so, I will be sending you, that traditionally have signs, pictures, information about what we've used in the past. And then I really want you to get back to me as soon as possible with, it's okay, I need a change, I don't need this one, whatever. Questions? Got anything sign related?
No? Good.
So you'll hear from me, but if you don't hear from me by next Friday, you know, get with me, maybe I overlooked it or something, or if you know what you want right now, you know, feel free. Thanks.
Heather was doing something really important earlier, which was distributing the cupcakes. So, but she has a reminder.
Yeah, my prizes aren't existent, but I have really fun donation forms to share with you. I have handouts, so I'm gonna send these around. This is just a reminder. I like to remind folks when deadlines are coming. The end of the month is when we need to get all the information in from our chairs, from our teams, from staff, from everyone about in-kind donations that we've been receiving in the community. That's a discount on services that you're paying for, that's some goods or services that are being outright donated to you. My contact information is on this form. It's so important that we get this information by June 1 in order to recognize all of the great businesses that are helping us meet our budgets and make the market happen. So there are ticket benefits related to this. I'm happy to answer any questions about what qualifies. And as I mentioned before, we really do need folks to just check in with me if you've got someone you're going to ask for a discount. If you think you know this great local restaurant that will donate the exact thing that you need to get your job done, just check in with me. We can make sure to equip you with all the right information about past giving or goodness they've already made for this year. So please, anything about in kind, talk to me before the end of the month. That's all from me. Thank you.
Yay. Patricia Segala, one of our volunteer chairs who does education outreach with Sarah Alimangus, had to leave. She works at MOIFA, but she has an updated calendar of events that are happening the week, Folk Art Week, I think is what it's called, so those are going around. I want to say thank you to Garrett because he stayed up till 2:30 in the morning last night editing a video for me explaining to volunteers how to log on to the VicNet access portal. So on the website, can you bring it up? The audio is really interesting, I did it. So I'm gonna circulate that. We just finished editing it in the half hour before you all got here, so I don't know. There's my person. So I'll send that around today, and then if people have questions, how do I log on and change my schedule, then you can just send them the video. I also have an accompanying text document if people don't like to watch videos and like to absorb it in a different way. As you may have learned, I like to cover everybody's learning styles. So that should help. I have a gentle, modest self-promotion here. At the end of April, we were 102 volunteers ahead of where we were last year. So the end of April had us at 841 volunteers. 193 of those were new. So that was pretty exciting. Huge props to Lucy, who's been going out into the community and recruiting, and another woman named Deb Query, who's been going to churches and businesses and everyone and recruiting. As of today, week before I got here, we were at 978 registered volunteers. So we're really close to that 1,000 number. I hope you all saw the volunteer t-shirt for this year. It is a stylish lime green, which features a tree of life from a beach all yarn painting from Mariano Valdez Navarro. It is lime green, in case you haven't noticed. Right? You're going to be able to see your volunteers. Feedback that I received was that we wanted more art, so I hope that the tree is less offensive than the lime green. Also, I'll send this around. This is a hand-woven lanyard, and I ordered 2,000 of them from one of our artists this year. The artist group is called Core Timor, and they're in Timor-Leste. And I got them for everyone, and so I'm hoping to appreciate people with a piece of folk art that they can wear, so I'll pass that around. So what else do we got? You saw my pretty picture of all the calculations I've done of people getting up on the hill and off the hill. You ready for me? All right. Get to watch a really cool video now, guys. So this will go on the website as well, and it'll go in the automatic confirmation emails that go out.
The new Associate Director of Volunteers for the International Folk Art Alliance.
I'm introducing myself.
I'm here to teach you about our volunteer online system.
I'm telling people I'm going to introduce them to the online system.
You only need to submit one
That's me. You'll be able to log in, change your stuff. I'm saying it slower on here, so just wait. Hey, so I'm showing everybody where they log in on the website. So they go to folkartalliance.org, they go to the volunteer drop-down, they go to volunteer login. I'm still saying that.
Find the link to the Information Center on our website.
I was very calm when I recorded it.
In the login name field.
So login name field, you have to enter your email address, and then you have to enter your password. Then I explain why it might not work. If you registered without an email address, it won't work. If you registered you, your 4 children, your husband, your cousin, and your sister-in-law with the same email address, it will not work. If you did not enter a password in the registration system, it will not work. So then I tell you to just call me. That's what happened there.
It's fine. You're
I'll
still
just
talking,
take
I'm
care
calling
of
you.
Is it not starting?
It's going.
Sorry. It's still saying call me. Call me. I'll call you back. Promise. I don't hear it anymore, Gary.
I know, I muted it for you so you can talk.
I know, but I don't know what I'm saying.
Oh.
This is what it looks like. How exciting. So I made this mock-up, right? And I used first name, last name, and I got an email from Tilda saying, who is this volunteer and what is their name? And because I added them to schedule so that I could build this mock-up. And so I just want to say, she's been very noticing. I tell people about the party information they have to use and where the training information is going to be. I tell them how to use my profile to have changed some personal information. And this is really important where they add the assignment preference. That's going to be the next, right? So if they're not seeing options to sign up for other teams, then that's where they do it. And if they do that here and choose 3 teams to be on and then sign up for 5 shifts with the first team, they might be on your volunteer list and then you call them and they're like, no, I'm already really booked. So this walks through the My Schedule tab. Slowly. This is what they're signed up for. It's in green text. That's how to sign up for a new shift. See how instructional is?
By selecting the shifts you'd like,
Right?
and clicking the continue button at the bottom.
Continue. Or to push all the right buttons. Continue, go, move forward, remove me. So they can only do this till June 15th, and then after that, they're not allowed to do that anymore. So then they have to call you. So I told them to call you, not me. Answer your phone. Otherwise, they're not going to show up here. No.
For people who are on the recruiting teams,
You may also contact me.
this would not apply.
It still applies, they just have to go through one extra step to get there. So I have to approve them first. And if you don't want them to touch it, then tell them don't touch it.
This is also the place where you can
Don't
sign
send
up
it to
for text message alerts.
I know that.
You sign up here with your cell phone number.
That's the text message alert, how to teach that to remind it. So what was really great as a trial is last month, Tilda and her team went to the warehouse and inventoried all the ambiance decorating stuff. And we put the stuff into Logistics, and it mailed them reminders about their shifts, and so that was really exciting. So things are working.
So this is gonna be up on the page today?
Yes, it'll be up later today.
Okay.
So there are other tools that I want to be able to give you guys. A couple people have asked me about emailing their whole teams. I can run a report really easily that's just an Excel spreadsheet with their names and their emails, and then you can either upload it into your email client as a group, and then you can send group emails. I can walk you through that. I can make an instructional video. Well, Garrett can make an instructional video. But so that would be helpful, but just ask me if you need it. The Hintons have already asked me, Jackie's already asked me, Stanza's already asked me, so just ask if you need that. Website, Logistics registration, email. Anybody have any questions, problems, things?
I have a question.
I have answers.
How do you get people to like use it? My team seems to be just like asking me constantly to check on their schedule.
Yes. So I've been tracking statistics, and about 10% of the people who are registered are using the volunteer thing. So I think that my solution was to make the video to explain to them, hey, I made this resource for you.
Yeah.
Please don't submit any more applications. Thank you so much. And stop harassing your people to ask about other teams that you don't know about. So I hope that this will help. So if you want to just send them this video and be like, there's this great resource, because I think it's going to help a lot. There's a frequently asked questions page that I spent a really long time on, and then Stacy rewrote because I did everything wrong. And it's on the website, so it's folkardalliance.org/volunteer-FAQs. You can find it, but it's just in the menu. But that's a really helpful page that will capture a lot of the information that was presented today, and answer questions that some of your volunteers may have. So as often as you can, refer them there or read it yourself to answer questions. What did I say? FAQs. Does anybody know anyone that speaks Russian? So Noreen is having a super hard time finding Russian
I do.
speakers.
There's a yoga instructor at Yoga Source.
Perfect.
That is Russian.
Great, I'll follow up with you. So Russian speakers, ask people casually. You go to a party. Stacey and I went out to breakfast last week at the Chocolate Maiden, and we asked our waitress who had an accent, "Where are you from?"
I know a few Russian speakers.
Perfect, great. This is why I ask, right? So continue asking, and then you all follow up with me with some contacts. I need 5 of them. So. I have not yet, but Noreen, I think, is going to.
Ginger, didn't she connect with the lab?
Yes. Nothing came through yet. Yeah.
I do need 2 Russians also.
Recruiting events, June 6th. I'm going to give it a go again at the Artist Market. Last time we tried to do that in April and we got an inch of snow. This past Saturday we tried to do Community Day, and Benita and Connie were nice enough to cover the booth for an hour while I played with my son, and it snowed again on Saturday. So there might be snow at the market this year. Apparently, I'm bringing it. There's only one more chair meeting. It's June 10th. It'll be here. It's at 2:30. Douglas is here in the turquoise shirt for you guys to buy discounted additional tickets for the Friday night. Oh, and I want to tell you one story because I can. So I went to the Folk Art Flea like a week or 2 ago, and I got this super fancy jacket. And it's I found out it's indigo and batik, but nobody has any idea where it's from. And this morning when I was leaving my house, it's the last week of school, so my son got to wear a costume to school today. And so he asked me, "Is that a costume?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "It's costume day at work too?"